Any other question?
Yeah, thank you so much, Tafara, for this opportunity. Yeah, I on the academic excellence, that's where I had so much confusion, but mine is not a question. I just want to thank you for actually clarifying everything. It's quite clear now. I understand, because I was worried, like, is it supposed to be academic like only? But from what you have actually elaborated, it's clear now. And thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm doing this because I have been helped as well when I was applying for my, scholarship for my master's. So I know some of the things that we overlook when we are doing applications. So I'm really glad that you're finding this, helpful in it. So one of the documents that I reviewed for you guys was the CVs. And I think this document made me prompt that we need to have a meeting and talk about it, right? Because I saw that some of you were sending me professional CVs. There is a difference between a CV that you make when you're applying for a job, right? And a CV that you make when you're applying for admission or for a scholarship. So I was like, okay, let's discuss what is found in an academic CV and what works, right? So you need to put some contact information, which is what we do also on the on the professional CV. But your contact information sometimes should include your email, and if you have a good LinkedIn profile, you can actually paste that link there, because some people might be curious. They go to your LinkedIn and they see you, like, doing all those projects and other stuff. Trust me, the reviewers have the time to do that, because sometimes you would have people who would have scored the same points, and they now want to find what really sets apart student A and what really sets apart student B, right? So make sure that you put the contact info, the correct contact information. And then the second thing that should follow should be your education. Remember, we are applying for an academic opportunity, right? So the first thing that they want to see is what education does Tafara have? What did she do? When did she finish, right? So you start with the most recent. That means that you don't start with your O levels or A levels. You start, if you have a bachelor's, you start with your bachelor's. If you have a national certificate, you start with that national certificate. It has to be the most recent going downwards. And then you need to put full qualification names. When I was reading some of your CVs, I didn't know some of the abbreviations that were used there. And I had to ask some of you, what is this? I had to ask some of you to put the full qualification names. If I myself, who is from Africa, cannot understand some of the abbreviations, what about someone who is from Europe? Will they know what kind of what that abbreviation mean? So make sure that when you're putting your education, you put the most recent first. You also put the full qualification names. What is it called? Is it a national diploma? Is it a national certificate? Is it a bachelor's? And all of that. And then the second thing that follows is the work experience and the internships. Why am I talking about this? I saw you, some of you were listing just like, I worked this, I had this role, and that was it. You did not mention any duties. What sells you, what sets you apart is a reviewer reading your duties, what you were doing, right? So don't just list, I was a sales assistant. What were you doing, right? And then you also, after that, you have to put the awards and scholarships. If you received any award, please put it. Even if it was for 2 months, even if it was for an online course, if someone gave you something as an award, which other people were paying to do, include that. Right? And then for those of you who are applying for masters, if you have research, if you have publications, if you have conference presentations that you have done, include that. That really helps as well. And then skills. I saw some of you putting skills like, I can multitask. in this case, skills that they are looking at is, are you technical, are you digital, can you use Microsoft Word, do you have any other softwares that you use? In my case, I am a bioinformatician, right? So in my CV you would see me, talking about things like Python, R programming, SQL and all of that, right? So this you should also look at your CV and see if it's meeting the standards, because multitasking is not a skill. Working under pressure is not a skill. What can you do? If you don't have any other softwares that you're good at working at, you can just, if you know how to use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office, put it there, because they would know that you're able to, do your assignment and keep up, right? And then if like there are a lot of programs that were there on that scholarship, so if you have some specific skills that are found in your niche, that are found in your profession, include them. I might not know all of them. I listed the ones that I know from my field, but you can also list some of the skills that like if I'm an accountant, these skills should be there. There are a lot of popular, softwares that are used in accounting. If you know one of them, that's where you put them there. And then don't leave out the professional development. We are doing this for Transilvania scholarships, but apply this to even the scholarships that you're going to apply even later. Why I'm preparing you to not give up until at least you get a scholarship and study abroad, right? So whilst we apply for the Transilvania scholarship with what we have, and if you're planning to apply for something either in the next coming period or next year, start doing your professional development. Go online, go on courses like Coursera. You can apply for financial aid and get your certificate. If there's something that is needed in graphic design, if there's a course, Coursera is like a whole university on its own, and you can learn courses that are being offered by Harvard, Oxford, and some, well-known universities that work there, right? Go there, find that course, apply for financial aid, do the course. It doesn't take you days or weeks. Do the course, get your certificate. You are beefing up your CV, you are beefing up yourself for the next application. So this is not only for the Transilvania scholarship, but this is even for the future, because you never know what happens. And then the other thing is references. Guys, this is very important. Please don't reference people who are dead already. Don't reference people whom you know that maybe they are old, they've already retired. If you try to look for them, you might not find them. Please ensure that the people that you put on references are reachable, and you have also informed them that you have listed them as references. An example is like one time in my school group, right? One professor was asking, do you know this person? Do you know this person? Why? They've put me as their recommendation, but I'm not remembering. Remember, we have a lot of students that pass, through our hands. And imagine he's not remembering the person. So on references, put people whom you are in contact with, whom you know that when they are emailed by the scholarship committees to say, give us a reference for Anna, give us a reference for Boateng, they will definitely respond. Because many people have missed out opportunities, because by the time, the time frame, the committee wants to make a decision, student A has all their references done and has 15 points. Student B has 15 points, but no reference has come in for them. Do you think they're going to stress themselves and say, we need to contact them and ask them again for a reference or not? They won't. They'll just pick student A and life goes on. And you're wondering, why am I not getting a response? Why was I not picked? And all of that. So put these in mind when you're making your CVs, when you're submitting names for recommendations as well. The other thing I want to talk about now is common CV mistakes. One thing I've already highlighted is abbreviated degree names. Write in full. These people might not even know. We have different education systems, so they might not even know what that means. And don't expect a scholarship committee reviewer to start going on Google and starting to Google that in Ghana there's something called NNC, for example. So what does it mean? they have a lot on their plate. There are hundreds and hundreds of applications that they are receiving. They are not going to take time to do the extra research for you by that, because he can't understand what your degree full name is. They are like, no, we are not taking this one. Because remember, they reviewed thousands and thousands of applications. And then don't put soft skills like multitasking under technical skills. Also, when we talked about recommendation letters, right now, I know we were asked to put our hobbies in our CVs, but this is something that is now becoming outdated. Please don't include hobbies in your CVs, right? And then also, if you, and I'm giving an example from the pool of CVs that I've received. If you put like things that are projects, that personal projects that you are doing, instead of saying I wrote a blog, right? For example, how about you put the link of the blog and also put some statistics. I have now 9,000 people visiting my blog. You see? Or if you are a consultant, if you're in accounting and you do consulting for companies, you say in this period I have my freelancing consultancy, I have consulted for these companies and they have been successful and all of that. Quantify your work. That really also sets you apart. So yeah, that was all about CVs, and now I want to quickly go through the motivation letter. Why it is key. Your motivation letter is you presenting your story, which means your motivation is like you getting into a room with a panel of interview people, and they're asking you questions. It's just that this time they have the questions pre-programmed already, and they're just looking at your paper and seeing how you have answered that. So your motivation is important because that's your story, right? So you write why do they have to pick Boateng? Why do they have to pick Anna? Why this scholarship, right? Why now? Why are you applying for this now? And then it has to be more personal than a CV so that it connects your journey to your goals. Bringing them into my experiences and all of that. So when you're writing your motivation letter, really sit down and really write your story in a way that is compelling. Now, the structure. Some of the motivation letters I saw, guys, I almost wanted to cry, because I was like, if these people submit these motivation letters like this, what's going to come out? Heartbreak, rejection. You just start by saying, I am a graphic designer. This is an example. Sorry, Boateng, I'm using you a lot, but I'm a graphic designer. I do video editing, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. You have to introduce yourself. Who are you? And right? And then you have to highlight the scholarship that you're applying for. And then after that, you give your academic background. I graduated in this year, or I have a BSc in that, right? You talk about what you have studied, key achievements. For me, that's where I list like my bachelor's, the kind of projects that I did in my bachelor's, and all of that. And then after that, you put in your career goals. What are your goals, short and long term? And in this section, I encourage you guys to really, really think, very well before you write your career goals. Write them short, write those short and long term. Try to link them of how you're going to bring back the experience that you're going to get after doing that, after getting that scholarship. How are you going to give back to the community? It is very important that you do that. And then, why these scholarships? You have to explain how it fits your goals, how it helps you to understand, how it helps you to advance your career and all of that. And then after that, you do a conclusion where you appreciate and affirm how this thing is important for you. So after tonight, I want you to go back to your motivation letter and see if it really fits what we have talked about. If not, adjust that. So motivation letter should be tailored for each application. ensure that you quantify your impact in your CVs, and also when you're talking about things that you have done in the motivation letter, and then proofread everything. Also use clear file names, right? And then if you are able to ask for feedback, look for someone who is your peer or your mentor to review, because they might see some things that you are missing in your application. Now I open this floor to you for question and answers, or you want to share your current challenges in the application or share your application plans. But before we go into that, I also want to encourage you not to wait until the 24th of April to submit your applications. If you feel like what you have is now okay, is well polished, please submit even this weekend or even Monday, because most scholarship boards are now closing their applications earlier if they receive an overwhelming amount of applications. So you don't want to see yourself during the week where they are closing. When you go there, they will tell you that they've closed the applications. You can also check out my YouTube channel where I also explain these things daily. So thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys have learned one or two things, and I wish you all the best in your application process. Don't wait until last minute. So